So, and I love him, and I won't say anything to you that I wouldn't say to him because I've
Sure.
already said that to him because I love him.
And obviously I don't hold back as well.
Yes. And that's, you
So
know
so
what?
let me give you some
Love that.
context. Let me give you some context. So Adam actually used to work for us.
Ah,
And so when he called me and said, "Hey, we've got this big project," um, my first reaction was, "No, what? Like, what did you sell?" Like literally, it was like shock and awe. Like, do you have maybe built half of a funnel? And and so I that was my initial my initial reaction was that. But I said to him, I said, we're happy to facilitate the ads and take that portion of the responsibility on as long as you're going to give us the chance to succeed. He said, well, with the allocated budget that we have, I think we'll be just fine. I said, okay, so what is that budget? He's like, well, hummed and hawed around it forever.
yeah.
And we finally got to a place where, I mean, I've got 3 or 4 team members working on this project, prepping everything. And I finally got to the place where my account manager was like, we're confused at this whole project. And this was quite frankly 3 weeks ago.
And we
So,
had no idea.
so we got on the phone with Lisa. It might've been 4 weeks ago. So we got on the phone with Lisa and we're like, Lisa, you've been a funnel person for a long time, which I think Lisa's great, by the way. She's phenomenal.
She is. She is phenomenal.
So I was like, Lisa, we don't know what's going on here. Can you give us some insights? Because we can't seem to get an answer from Adam. He's using this Trello board that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yes.
And the project timeline doesn't make sense. Like,
yes.
And I said to her, I said, Lisa, I have a huge concern in terms of based on the number that he had mentioned to me that he was allocating or that you were allocating toward this project. I said, okay, this is great. Anticipating you had 4,000 or 5,000 followers, that you had, nurtured a relationship, had a group of people that were like dynamically following you on social media. And I'm like, great, that's fine. But then when I went in and because my account manager was running, and when I finally dove in, I said, Lisa, I said, I'm worried. Like, he's given us $1,000 ad budget to work with. And she said to me, she said, Ryan, I've helped 7-figure launches happen. She said, Connie needs like 10 to 15 grand just to make sure she gets a return on her investment on this one.
Oh my word.
And I said, yeah, quite frankly, I get it. And so I actually received an email from Lisa this morning. Same thing. I didn't send her that email, but I sent her another email saying, listen, I don't want to be picking on Adam in this situation, but quite frankly, I'm at a loss. Like, I'm ready to just, if we need to refund what you've paid us already, I'm ready to walk, quite frankly, Connie. I have a hard time attaching my name to this project, not because it's you, but just because of the chaos that it's created. Yes. We came in 3 weeks ago and we're like, okay, Lisa, you and I are on the same page. Let's create exactly what we need to. We called Adam, had a conversation with Adam. He allocated a certain ad budget. And I'm like, this isn't enough. Like, give me what you can, but this isn't enough. And he said, we're going to start ads right now. And then that meeting with you guys on Friday, I anticipated we're going to talk through the process and be like, okay, let's get started. And then he said, well, we're not going to start ads till 7 days before the webinar, and give me
and I was like, but this is a cold audience. Don't we have to trickle? I mean, yeah, this is why we went to experts. And that's why I clarified with him at the beginning. We're coming to you because we all can speak the language. We all know pieces, but we need experts to do this. And he's like, I got this. We totally got this. And I asked him what other funnels he did, and he hemmed and hawed. And he said, well, this one that I did, they're going to be making $1 million here, blah, blah, blah. But then that's when we had the conversation of, I've got a great team. And I really did put my faith in that. But I did not understand that he was not, like, it's not his team.
No.
I thought that he was like, you guys are subs, sure, but not like, your subs for him. I didn't realize that
we've never worked with him before.
No. And this is all new and very disturbing information. So tell me, with where we're at right now, I talked with the team this morning. I've already put in about 10K. I'm trying to figure out, okay, to get the return on this, can you tell me with my content, with my warm audience, and with my message is pretty broad. It's not like I'm talking about, horticulture or something. It's pretty broad and it's pretty needed with women, and I'm emphasizing work-life balance and things like that. how, in moving forward, we all came to the feeling that we're in halfway. If we can find a way to salvage this and be able to have the return, it's best for us to keep moving forward because it's a trajectory. It's just a mess. And so the key piece is that we can see, you know what you're doing. Lisa knows what she's doing. We content-wise know what we're doing. I think we can make this really successful. I just need to figure out if that's what you see, what do you recommend from here?
Well, I think the beautiful thing is you do have a good funnel builder in Lisa who gets it. And hey, buddy.
Oh, could you bring it to me and I'll open it for you? Thank you. Thanks so much for understanding.
I have a 6-year-old son as well. He's my world. I have 2 older daughters, a 12 and a 9-year-old, and then my son is 6. So totally rocks my world.
Scrumptious. They are at such a scrumptious age. So they still think you're the world. You're like, that's right.
Yeah. He actually listens to me and he pays attention when I try to coach him. And my 12-year-old is now, she's like, well, it was funny because anyway, I digress, but there was a time frame where she thought I didn't know anything. And now she's coming back and she's like, will you coach me again? You've gone backwards for 2 years. So I've been totally hands off.
That's a paycheck.
So here's where, and this was the comment that I made on Friday. It's hard to convert cold traffic to webinars, period, and end of story. And, and that's what I told Adam. I said, it's hard. It's flat out hard to get their attention enough to drive them to a webinar, to register for a webinar, and then sit on, a 60 to a 90-minute webinar to see what the process is all about. And then, ultimately close a deal through a webinar script. Yeah. It's not easy. And he's like, well, everybody says that you can get webinar registrations for $10 per webinar registration. I said, who? Well, Russell says that. I'm like, well, yeah, but when was the last time Russell tried to run cold traffic?
Yeah.
He's got a Facebook group of hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah. Yeah. And he can prospect from them because they adore him.
Talk about a killer lookalike audience. No problems. He runs ads and he gets huge engagements plus social proof that helps him sell as much as he wants to sell about anything he wants to sell.
That's right.
So Connie, here's my concern. I could say I need $10,000, but quite frankly, in the time frame we have in 2 weeks, I still don't think we can convert that appropriately.
Well, here's an idea that we had, and tell me what your thoughts are. We thought I want to prospect our warm audience. We literally just put out a one-time thing for the 12-week course and just said, let's try this. And my audience hardly even knows that I have these available. Yeah. So the whole idea behind the 6 week is that we want that to become our prospecting for the 12-week program. Gotcha. We want that to be the one, so that the 6 week is a mindset shift. And then the 12-week is the actual program. And then I have the balance redefined professional. So it's value ladder. It's taking them up.
Gotcha.
So this 6 week, that's the purpose of it. So I definitely we even just talked about it in my balance 12 week. Some ladies just finished that program. I said, hey, I've got the 6 week coming up and already they're asking about it. So I know that my warm will be interested. So here's what we're thinking. What if we do the warm audience, go ahead with January 10th and do the warm audience only. And then in February, we do the cold audience. What if we did that? My concern is if we wait too long in January that we're going to miss a really good window for the beginning of the year. Although I know the whole of January is open because a lot of people, especially women, it's halfway through before they're really feeling like, okay, kids are back in and I'm getting in a groove. So I'm not stressed about doing exactly January 10th. We could even bump it to the next week and that's fine too. But I know that we've got, then you're going in, I'm downstairs. Thanks, darling. Ask Chloe to come up and help you. Okay, say mom said. Thank you, darling. That's the buzzword, mom said. So my thinking is if we can get a warm audience going, the idea was that we do the 6 week and then in February we open up enrollment for the 12 week because we're only doing it twice a year to open up that enrollment. Mm-hmm. So just so that you have a background of what we're thinking, we can play with this any way we need to. I'm not stuck hard and fast to January 10th, but I would love to do something in January to capture that interest at the beginning of the year, those January people. And then there's the February people who are sort of like the late January. So I don't know what you thought.
So tell me that, ad budget is going to dictate the success that we have. You can reach typically in a conversion-based ad set 2,500 people for every $100 you're spending in ads.
Okay.
So with a lookalike audience,
how many people do you think we need to reach in order to, like, when I threw that out there to my warm audience, it was to the 3,000 newsletter. And at the time, people weren't, it was over the summer. The last 7 months, I hadn't even hardly done much with my newsletter. Open rates were pretty low at the time. And we still had 175 people register. So
awesome.
I don't know. What do you
you've got an audience of people that want your content.
Yes.
The only thing I'm going to say in terms of tricky thing is, even if we input that email list of 3,000 that you have, that's not totally indicating that those are the exact people we're going to get in front of. No. It only gives me a lookalike audience of people that might have, does have the same behaviors and interests, right? So, yes. I guess my question is, in terms of return on investment, I know you spent a significant amount of money already, and we normally, from a return on investment, we always try to shoot at a minimum of 2 to 3 times return on investment. Now, we usually anticipated and usually get a lot higher return on investment than that. Okay. But I don't want to be the overpromise, under deliver, which maybe that's been a little bit of the situation here, right? I don't want to be the overpromise, undeliver, but I also want to see a positive impact for you and for your business. So $1,000 isn't going to give us a 2 times return on investment, especially if you're running it to a lukewarm audience of people. I mean, we need anywhere from 2,500 to 5K just to really start to warm and plant some of those seeds and pick some of those low-hanging fruit that I think we can get to the webinar.
So if we do, and I'm not going to hold you to this. I know you've been doing this for 7 years. I know that you know what you're doing, and I got that. So I'm not stressed about that. I'm just trying to get a context here. Mm-hmm. If, say, I put in 2,500 to 5,000, what do you think would be, realistically, if we did this in January, would that ROI come in January or February? Or is it like, well, it's going to take a while for that flywheel to go? Or would this be more immediate?
With webinars in the past, we've seen it's taken probably 60 to 90 days.
60 to 90 days.
Yep.
Okay.
So
that's for it to be like 2 to 3 times the ROI at the lowest, maybe. I mean,
yeah, I mean, that's, and you'll get quicker wins than that, but to see it convert, and the other outlying factors, quite frankly, in this process is assuming that Lisa is building a beautiful funnel that will convert. Because I mean, our scope of work is to drive traffic, right? Right. We don't control the rest of the sales cycle. We get the right people. We can drive people to the actual webinar registration page, and we do that very well. But getting them,
and then we have to convert.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of 25 to 5K, we can optimize. Basically, what we'll do is we'll optimize instead for purchases so that we can drop your cost per acquisition lower. We'll optimize for landing page hits on that registration page, because then once we have 50 to 100 of those, Facebook will start to optimize it for us.
Okay.
But if we're trying to get registrations for the event, which we can run a different ad set, but if we start running registrations to the event, then, and that's our conversion metric, those lead costs are going to be higher in the beginning. Now, here's, I guess, what I'm looking for. We need content, right? I know there's video assets in the folder that's been shared with us, but we honestly, for the next 2 weeks, we need consistent content and not static image content. We need Facebook Live video assets that we can leverage to get into the market, to expose who you are to this target demographic. And we can't wait till the 3rd if we're doing this event on the 10th.
Yeah. So what does that look like to you? Facebook Lives that are what, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes? And is it content that is teasing what will be in that?
Yes. Well, it's value-based content with an invitation to join the webinar. So yes, teasing in terms of high value.
So what my question is will you have a pre-launch list, or will you have a pre-registration list? Like when I do my books, I was pre-order on Amazon because I get more of a base. I already get numbers. Do you do anything like that?
So the way that we do that typically is we'll run that through an instant messenger chatbot.
Okay.
Right? Because then we can get a good gauge on who is actually raising their hand and saying we want to be a part of the group, or we're open to the idea of going to a registration.
So, but what does that look like for me as an invitation? Am I in the Facebook Live? Do I say click below and register?
Just comment below. No, because here's the way that we look at it. It's a lot easier on the front end to drive potential leads into a mini chat sequence where they're joining a group. And then once we get them as a mini chat subscriber or an instant message bot subscriber, we don't need to pay to acquire them anymore.
Perfect.
Because we can send them individual messages, and you've got like an 80 to a 90% open rate with a 30 to 40% click-through ratio.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's and this was the proposal that we had sent to Adam, and the strategy we wanted to start on 2 weeks ago is let us leverage these Facebook Live events to drive people into a mini chat sequence so we can build an audience. And then once we're ready to launch that webinar in a few days, or in the 3rd of January, we can send a message out to 300 people and get them to register like that, or at least see what's happening.
Yeah, I've been doing Facebook Lives twice a week. Now, granted, it's on a Christ-centered Christmas, but my market likes that. And
but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. He just said you can't run any ad budget until January the 3rd. So
no.
I'm like,
oh. Okay, it's all right. And then I'm so sorry. Do you have a faith base yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you okay with your Latter-day Saint?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then we can speak the same language. Okay.
Yes.
So here's the deal. I know that we're going to be able to move through this and it's going to be okay. I feel really peaceful about that, because at first I'm like, is this like the adversary, or is this like, hey, don't do this? Like, this is a really dumb idea. And I really feel like we need to move forward. So it's okay. It would have been ideal to do this 3 weeks ago. It would have been perfect, but it's okay. We'll make it. So let
me ask you this question. What if we push it off a week? Let me look at my calendar. Okay. If we just shifted to the 17th instead of the 10th, that gives us a good solid 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 weeks.
Yes.
From now. And I hate to shift, but timelines. Have we done any sort of communication with your audience? What day?
I've told them that something is coming in January. That's it. That's all I've said. And that
I think that gives us the ability to communicate both via driving some traffic.
It should be in the room. So that's the holiday weekend, but we would nab them before the holiday weekend, because that's President's Day on Monday.
Yes. Okay. I see what you're saying. But here's
nab them on Thursday.
And here's my thought process. There's a lot of clients that we have that are suggesting we shut ads down from the week of Christmas. And I'm like, what are you talking about? People are going to be on their phones more on that week than ever, because they're not even smart to shut ads off at that time. And I think if we can start, by the end of this week, we have all the campaigns ready to go. We have the mini chat sequence set up and ready to go. We're good. We just need the green light that says, here's your ad budget.
Yes.
Go after it and let's see what we can do with it. Because quite frankly, if you have that audience from an engaged audience perspective, and you have people that have liked your page already, which I know it's a small audience, but if we can leverage your email list and warm people up to the fact that now you're on a social media platform, and also email communications, say, hey, I'm on social now. I've got this group, come join us. Even inside of your email context, say, we're getting ready to launch something in January. We want to make sure you don't miss out on it. Click this link and it starts this mini chat or instant message bot equation. We might be able to get 400 people inside of that before we even spend a penny.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely. And I want you to know something too that you may not be aware of. We switched, because I was doing back to basics, and then we switched this balance redefined a few months ago, and we knew that it was just going to tank our numbers, and we got that. Mm-hmm. But I want you to notice, I've been checking the Facebook Lives over the last 3 weeks. We have 173 members on that Facebook page, but we have absolutely consistently 70 to 85 people viewing my Facebook Lives.
Yep.
So that means the engagement, even though the numbers are low, the percentage is great.
That's right.
So they are engaged and they're interested, and typically they've read my books, they've come to my classes. They don't really need a hard sell. They just need to feel like it's time to do it.
That's right. They just need to know that you're on social, that you're creating an additional something. And Connie, let me just share with you kind of my experience. And this is why I feel like I can help in this process. I actually took over a celebrity brand. My very first client 7 years ago. Wow, it's been a long time. My very first client 7 years ago was a celebrity brand, 10-time New York bestselling author, had no digital presence in terms of selling any products online. And we did some amazing stuff organically. Now back that, you're at a 30 to 40% organic reach, but we generated in 72 hours like $79,000, $80,000 on an organic play.
No
way. On an ebook, on a $19 ebook.
Oh,
we
word.
Did it the right way, right? We geared up to it. We presented it appropriately. And then when we launched, they were like eating out of her hand. They're like, give me, But how we did that strategically is we engaged the audience in the beginning process. And quite frankly, we said, we're getting ready to launch a new ebook. Here's a couple of different covers. Tell us which one you like the most. And that instantaneously opened up a whole new door of organic reach at the time. So when we finally posted a Facebook Live for the very first time with her, there was like 300 or 400 people watching.
Wow.
And it was just like this. But I know your audience, you probably have a very similar audience in terms of book sales without emails, right? Things that you've done through Amazon, which obviously you don't get that information, but you are out there in the market. We just have to let people know you're relevant in the social media world.
Yes.
And expose you to those people that already know about you.
Yes.
And we're not doing that. We're saying we're not going to use and this was Adam's word, we're not going to use that list because we can find those mompreneurs that are entrepreneurs. And I'm like, no, we can't.
I thought we were doing both. I thought he was going to bring in that new audience and do a lookalike and then find them in the mompreneurs like a Jody Moore and clone those, a Brene Brown, those kind of audiences. And that's what we talked about. That's why I was confused. Because I was like, that isn't what that I remember that we discussed.
Well, we didn't even know. And like I said, I felt really out of place on that in the meeting on Friday because I had no idea that they were using a list of 3,000 customers.
I know. I went, wait, just a minute. What? He doesn't know. He must be looking at us going, guys, or like, how am I supposed to work with this?
Well, that's what I was telling Adam. I'm like, and now you're taking my budget from whatever you had me at to $1,000 and you're expecting me to perform? Like, I can't. I mean, the fact that you don't even have a Facebook pixel on your page right now also makes it a little bit worrisome for me because you don't even know the traffic that's coming there to build an audience based on people that are coming to your website currently. And I feel like 101.
Yes, we have to have, if we're going to put out all this finding, we got to be able to track the information and track the results so that we gather.
Amen.
Otherwise, we're just wasting money. So,
Amen.
Yeah, okay, super. We're on the same page then. Fantastic. So from here, tell me the candid truth. In order for this to be successful, we will do the masterclass January 17th, and that will be to the warm audience. Do we want to do a cold audience? Then I want to talk about strategy in a minute, but do we want to do cold audience in February or do you want to do cold audience around that? Or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I think here's the thing. If we can get the video assets appropriately, it doesn't take we don't need months to nurture the relationship.
Yep.
Like, we just need videos in sequence to nurture that relationship.
Okay. So do you want to do warm and cold at the same time then, or you want to do them separate?
I'd say, well, depending on the budget size, we split test it.
Okay. Tell me what you think as far as what is the most reasonable amount of ad budget that would still make this fly. I'm kind of like at the poker table, forgive the analogy, and the chips are all in. Like, I'm either.
I don't know what that means, Connie. I mean, I've never gambled in my life. Just kidding.
I've seen it on TV.
Yeah, I watched it one time. I think I didn't understand it, but whatever.
I watched
Chips are on the table. Good, I'm hungry. Like, give me some
know what
food.
This is. So I need to know, like.
Yeah. So here's how I would like to approach it, quite frankly. I'd like to take, if we have 4 weeks, I'd like to take a $500 a week budget and start to test it. I don't want to drop $2,500 in a week. It doesn't make sense to me. I want to see how they're responding to us on a weekly basis. And if we're getting great response, then it makes sense to increase the ad budget. But quite frankly, I'd like to see how we can scale that, because we might go through $5,000 if they're just responding great and we know that we can get a return on investment. We can make 15 or 20 grand in the process. Great.
Hang on one second.
Yep.
I know she's going home in a few minutes, so I need you to just play. Okay? I love you. Sorry. Okay. So yes, and that if we can see that it's working and we can see that we're getting the return, then that's fine because
Right.
money's going to be coming in.
Right. Right. And that's the way that I look at it, is we're going to need at least, a $2,000 budget to test in the beginning before we even get to webinar week. And then based on the audience and based on what we're seeing from a response perspective, we can give a good indication of how much we can spend, because really we're trying to figure out first who's engaging.
Oh, Chloe, and Chloe can help you. We don't know. Please go downstairs. She's in her room and tell her mom said she is to watch you. Oh, I love my angsty teenager. Anyway, go ahead.
No, but so the reality is if we spent the next 2.5 weeks building that audience, ManyChat, not only through our ad product, but also leveraging email. And I'm not sure who, quite frankly, I don't know who's over email. I think your team is, right?
That would be Torianne.
Okay.
I mean, on our side?
Yeah. So if we can work hand in hand with Torianne to craft a message so that we can drive people into that ManyChat or that instant message chatbot technology as well, just to see how many people we're adding to that group.
Yes.
Then we can say, okay, based on the response, we're getting a great response, or the response is a little bit less than we anticipated. Let's increase the ad budget to see what those conversions look like, or let's scale the ad budget back, and it'll give us a better indication of what that launch will look like in terms of sales.
Okay. I think that's wise. I think that makes sense, and it's balanced. It's a really reasonable approach, and I like that. So if we do the 2,000 and we test it, we tweak it, what are we looking at, do you think, for the actual ad, the masterclass week? Why is it that everyone's coming to the door and like everything's happening right now? Nothing is scheduled to happen right now. Nothing.
It's 4:40. It's that time of day.
Chelsea, thank you. What? Oh, it's Elizabeth. Come on, my baby. Thanks, darling. Okay, so that first week or two, do you do anything the week before, or just is it all the week of? I mean, I know you're talking about these weeks, but is there anything special the week before, or just?
Yeah. I mean, we go. I mean, we've got the strategy roadmap already articulated on what percentage of ad budget we're going to spend and when.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, let me just pull that up here. I can share it with you. Give me a minute to pull it up and I'll share.
Oh, no, that's totally great. Okay, this is really wonderful. And then I just want, if you can, just tell me what kind of Facebook Lives do you need? Is it that I actually go on to my group and do Facebook Lives like 2 or 3 a week from here?
Yes, I need Facebook Lives from you on your business page, not on your group, on your business page, because I can't run ads out of a group.
Okay.
So on your business page, I need to get some Facebook ads placed on that, which will also build social proof and give me some more exposure. I need 2 to 3 minute videos.
Okay.
And the way that I want you to structure those videos is I want you to talk about one topic, real life topic of what, in terms of maybe some of the trainings in your book or some of the education in your book or whatever that looks like. What I want to see is something that provides massive value on the front end with a soft call to action. All we want is a soft call to action right now to come join the group where you're sharing more information.
Okay, awesome. And then do you want it specific to work-life balance or just anything to do with balance redefined?
What's the branding that's happening inside of your group currently?
It's all about balance redefined. So it's living a purposeful, organized, and joyful life.
Yep,
Everything revolves around those 3.
That's what I want.
Okay.
And maybe even experiential. And if you have some really good testimonials where, quite frankly, you could do some Zoom meetings with those people that have gone through your programs and have had success like this, that would be a phenomenal way of positioning some of that Facebook Live content. You can use a software program. I don't know if you've used it or not, but there's a software called BeLive.tv.
No, I've heard it though.
BeLive.tv is a great software program that helps you position a new style like this. Not a feature, but it's a whole different platform specifically integrated with Facebook. So it's nice. You can see comments, you can respond to comments. It's just a whole new platform. So let me bring up this stuff.
Okay, so what do I do? So now that we're like 3 days before kids all get home, what is the best way for me to do this? Do I need to do it Like, can I do videos or do those interviews and pre-done?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Because
fine.
I'm in for eye surgery like December 27th. And so if I'm going to be out for a few days, then the first week of January, I should just find make my video Facebook Live.
Yeah.
If it's possible, maybe I'll just see if I can reach out to the program and do one of those. Now, I can't figure out the Be Live TV. Is it okay to do Zoom? If that's easier for me, I look at it. If not, do Zoom.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And maybe just for right now, that might be the easiest thing. They're all on too.
Yep.
And then I could get probably 3 or 4 of those. And so what's the length on those that you think would be good?
3 to 5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes. Perfect. Okay. And then I'll just focus on a thing like purpose, vision, something that they learned, organization, balance, whatever that they learned through the, okay.
Yep.
And then
and as part of that, I want you to just say, so if you were someone that hasn't taken a course of mine, that's never been a part of my world, that's learning from me, what would be the one thing you would say that has provided the most benefit to you in terms of your experience and the content that I share? So it's a social validation tool, right?
Love it. Totally love it. That's great. Now, how many of these do you need before we launch?
I want 2 to 3 a week.
2 to 3 a week. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not going to spend a ton of ad budget on it, but I'm going to leverage those videos to create that social proof.
Okay.
And then the next thing that I need is a video that gives more education. So the way that I look at it is this: we're going to use these as brand awareness campaigns, right? Just to get your exposure out into the marketplace by leveraging video assets. And not just the testimonial video, but these Facebook Live events. The second step in the tier is we have to have some sort of education around what it is that you're providing to the marketplace and why it's different, or why why people should pay attention to you. And in warm and cold audience, they need some just need to be reminded, right? Yeah. So that's going to be the second video that we use in this advertising sequence. The third video asset then would be one of those testimonials, 1 or 2 or 3 of those testimonials.
Okay.
And then finally, I need you to create a video that just says, listen, we're having a webinar January the 17th.
Okay.
I'm asking you to come join us because there's amazing information that we're going to be sharing. So click the button below to come and join us.
Okay.
And that will be the third, it'll be the fourth video that we use in sequence. But the way that we leverage this, Connie, just so you're aware, what we do is we take this full audience of people we're getting in front of, and we filter the audience down based on the percentage of video view watch. Okay. So if they watched 50% of your Facebook Live event, then all of a sudden they go to that next tier where it's an education piece that's delivered to them the next time they open Facebook.
Love it.
And then once they've done that, now they know who you are. They have an understanding of your brand. They recognize the education you're providing. And then we say, well, okay, the last thing you need to know before you make a decision is just that other people have gone before us, right? Here's a testimonial. Let's put it in front of them. I mean, it's the subconscious buying behavior, which is so simple to mimic. Yes. Most people don't understand it, right?
Yeah.
So think about that in terms of if I'm talking to someone for the very first time, what is it that I've been able to share on stages across the country that really resonates the most? And I want you to stick those things in your first Facebook Live videos and take a piece of those plus an experience or a success that came from that. And really try to relate. Remember, the context isn't speak to everybody. The context is speak to the one person, like you're a one-on-one conversation with them. Mm-hmm. Right? So then we go from there. And then the next step is, okay, what else? Now that they know what my brand is and what do I do, what type of information do I typically use in a 1 to 2 to 3 minute sales pitch, if you will, or educational conversation about really what it is that you do for people. And then that third video will be the testimonial video. The last one, I just want you literally to say, come join us. You paid attention to our content. You're now part of our world. We just want you to come and be part of this webinar so I can show you how this specifically will change your life for the better.
Awesome. Now, let me ask you a question. So if I'm leading them to this masterclass, in the masterclass, I have shifted what I was going to talk about in the sense that we were going to give them organization and this tool and this tool. But the 6-week program is about a mind shift. It's not about teaching them sticker charts and things like that. It's giving them 6 mind shifts so that they're prepared for the 12-week program. So what's the best way for me in that masterclass to tease that 6-week program? Like, what should I teach in that masterclass? I know he's finishing up the webinar script, which I haven't seen, but I really feel strongly they need to walk away with tools, but I need them to lead into the 6-week program. So what would you recommend? Because if I'm doing Facebook Live saying, I'm going to teach you fabulous things, What is it that I need to teach them in this masterclass that would make them want to buy the 6-week?
Quite frankly, the way that I see it and what I've seen people in the market do is basically give everything that's going to be a part of that 6-week course. Give them like a 10,000 level perspective of what's coming and how it applies to them.
So in that specifically, do I give them lots of specific how-tos, or do I just give them more of this is how it feels, this is how it works, here's your pain point, here's the solutions?
How-tos always get better engagement on social media than theory. Tactical versus theory. I want you to think of tactical. Here are the 3 things. Here are the 2 things. Here's the number 1 thing that I've seen. And here's the 4 things that I've evaluated. And here's the 6 things that I'm going to teach in my course. And here's the 4 things that you need to consider based on this type of an experience, or, things of that. Always, and use emojis when you're creating those Facebook Live events, because emojis always attract more people. It's kind of a funny thing, but it always does.
That's what Marie keeps telling me. I'm like, I feel like I'm in 7th grade.
That's
I really do. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so when I do that masterclass, then when I'm teasing this masterclass and the things I'm going to teach them, I do not want to do a 60 to 90 minute webinar. I've got moms. I'm reaching women and they're different. So I need it to be 30 to 45 minutes. How short can I go?
Well, that's a little bit out of my realm a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Now you're talking webinar content, and that would be your Adams or your Lisas.
Okay,
I'll just check things that they've seen, right? Because we drive traffic to the webinar,
right?
But that's where we turn the ball over and say, okay, now convert.
Okay, I will talk to them and just see what's the specific way to do it, because I like shorter is better, at least for my moms and the women.
Absolutely.
They're like, give it to me down and dirty. I've got kids coming in and out. I just got to move.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. So I will, then what I need to do is, if I understand correctly, I need to give you 2 to 3 Facebook Lives a week. And if I can't do a Facebook Live with the surgery, then I will do videos and recorded testimonials. Where do I upload those? Is there a place?
Well, you're gonna present those on Facebook, right? But then I want you to also save those videos after you're done with the Facebook Live, and it asks you to save those.
Right.
You save those and then just upload those into the folder that everyone's been sharing. I don't know if you have access to that, but
I'll ask Torianne.
Yeah, Torianne will know.
Okay. And then, so starting right now, this week, tomorrow I'm going to do a Facebook Live at noon. So should I go ahead and just start with this right away?
Yep.
And then we did the chatbot #yes. Is that working already?
We haven't put anything out there. Well, yeah, we have. We actually have, I saw a couple people opt in today.
Yeah, I think we had 4.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. All right, then we'll do #yes.
Yeah, you can just use the #yes. Say, drop the hashtag. If you want to join our group, just drop the #yes.
Okay,
below.
Perfect. Okay, question on what do I do from here where there's remaining amounts due to Adam, but I can tell this is going to be 25 maybe to 5,000 for the social media. So one of the solutions that we came up with was, get that this is an experience. This is not what was communicated to us. This is different than what we had planned on. My thinking is to put the money that I would have paid him to this social media spend, and then with the ROI that he has said is going to be there, he's absolutely assured me this is going to be so successful, not a worry, we will work this until it's successful. Then we pay him when we start getting the ROI. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't want to make a kind of a judgment for Adam, but I think that makes a lot more sense to me. If I was in your shoes, that's the way that I would negotiate it.
Okay, and that's all I'm asking is just for your opinion.
And but I don't know how much of that is allocated towards his funnel people.
Yes.
Versus, because we've got another transaction that'll be coming out soon from him as well. So I don't know how much of that he's using for
him, or how much is going to Lisa or anybody else.
I think that's the conversation you need to have with him is what's your bare minimum and what do we need to pay off without paying you until you actually create success. Because
yes,
I mean, quite frankly, and again, I'm being super candid now. Hopefully I'm not too candid, but I think everyone else has done Adam's job to date.
Yes, that is exactly the truth. And we're all feeling that. So yeah, Torianne feels like she has been Adam, and she's been after him and connecting and talking, and Yeah, and I get it. I mean, we've all had, and that's what we said, we've all had our experience of, oops, I've learned my big learning curve right now, and we've all had to pay for that.
Yeah.
So that's our feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I would say again, as part of that, just, make it right with the rest of the team.
Yes.
Because if you upset the rest of the team,
We won't have a.
and just, I would be very frank and clear with Adam that this money is not allocated to you. This is not for your Christmas. This is not for anything but to pay the team. So what is the number that I need to pay you in order to pay the rest of the team off?
Yeah.
And then, the way honestly, Connie, that we like to leverage ad product is we actually leverage that directly through your Facebook ad account. And we normally just have that charged directly to your method of payment. The reason that we do that is because then you retain all the data that was run from the ad product. There's a lot of agencies out there that will go and say, well, we'll just you pay us and we'll run it from there. I'm saying, don't pay us anything for that. We'll run the ad product on your account, and we'll just stay in contact with you of, yes, we need to up this, or we got to slow this down, and just give you an indication. Because based on your ad account right now, where it's so new, you're probably going to get $75 charges until they recognize that you're going to continue to spend. So you might see a ton of transactions happening over the course of the next few weeks, just because Facebook doesn't allow you to spend $2,000 over 4 weeks if you've never spent any money on ads before.
Gotcha.
So they have their minimum thresholds, and you'll see a lot of transactions coming out. I hate that about ads in terms of the ad product, because I prefer to just let it run and have you charge once the actual ads are up, which is normally the case with people that have actually run ads. But just so you're aware, in the beginning, you're going to see a lot of transactions. You're going to be like, what's happening? Why am I getting charged like 3 or 4 times a day in some cases? Right.
And it's Cafe Rio. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it won't be Cafe Rio, but maybe, I don't know.
No, that makes total sense. I'm glad you gave me the heads up so there wasn't a freak out. That's great. And that makes sense. And plus, that just on so many levels, that makes sense. And I totally get that. That's great. Okay. So no worries. So I totally agree with that 2,000 and spread over the 4 weeks. And then we'll evaluate how it's going. You'll let us know. Keep in touch with, this is good, this isn't. I'm expecting that we'll hear from you weekly, if not more.
If not more. Yeah, so Natalie and Brennan will be on top of your ads.
Okay.
Next week is kind of a little bit of our week off, if you will. And I told them just to kind of maintain throughout the next few weeks. But I'll just make sure that they're paying attention to your stuff. They do. They're both fantastic.
Yeah, we're really impressed with them. Yeah.
Yep, both of them are great. We try to hire the best. And
that's awesome.
So,
and what's the name of your agency?
Strategic Social Partners.
Strategic Social Partners, because I didn't even know the name. Okay, well, I think this has been really beneficial, and it's making me feel much more peaceful. And I think we have a good chance of this being successful. That being said, just kind of in wrapping this up, so that I'm not any pie in the sky, but I have a reasonable expectation of what can play out in January. Following this through, going to be putting more money into this. What do you think we can potentially see between January and February as an ROI for us?
Well, I would say 2 to 3 times.
Okay.
I mean, I think at a minimum, based on the warmth of your audience and everything else, I think you could probably see a 2 to 3 times return on investment. Okay. I'm going out a little bit on a limb to say that, because I just don't know.
Yeah,
with an audience that's not there yet, but we need to get there, and what that's going to look like. I mean, I'm making probably some faulty generalizations in terms of how I'm thinking it through when it comes to the return on investment. But I'd love to say a 5 to 10 times return on investment, but I just don't know how your audience is going to respond quite yet.
Mm-hmm. And how soon will we be able to see? I'm thinking in a week or 2, we'll start to see what the responses are. Is that right? Yeah,
you'll start to see a pretty good response rate based on, the number of people that are opting into your mini chat sequence will be a good indication of how engaged they want to be. Because if they're taking a call to action when we're running a brand awareness campaign or a video views campaign, then we know that there's something good about the message that you're sharing with us.
Awesome. Well, it sounds to me, just so I'm clear, the Facebook Lives are not really any different than what I've been doing, except for shorter. And they're just really focused on that content with an experience. That's really what I usually do in about 10 minutes. So I'll just shorten it up to about 3 and add in those testimonials. So it seems like it's not that different than what I'm doing. And then we're just going to make sure we cultivate that, we gather from it.
That's exactly right. We just need a budget so that we can actually let people see what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my.
I mean, we can continue running organic, but you're a 1 to 4% organic reach.
Yeah. And do you need any of my previous Facebook Lives? I saved them all. Do you need any previous ones?
Well, I can go back and look at those. I mean, we can leverage some ad budget on it. We can leverage ad budget on anything that's on your page currently.
Yeah,
so
feel free.
Why don't I do this? We'll go look at, as a team, we'll go look at some of the Facebook Lives that you've done. Those ones that have performed pretty well. We'll go in and create some momentum. There's actually kind of a hack that we use in social media with Facebook Live events. Before you go live, if you can give me kind of an indication of when you're going to go live, because what we do is we'll typically go back to a previous Facebook Live event, copy the permalink or the URL, drop that into the comments to trigger to everyone that you're going to be going live again. And what it does is it notifies them and it opens up the organic reach a little more effectively. And normally what we'll do, we'll give it 12 to 24 hours to run organically to see what the response looks like. Because if we're getting a good response and then we leverage an ad product inside of that response, it also gives us more organic reach. Just some hacks that we use, right?
I love it. Love it. Yeah, that sounds great. So know for sure I'm going on at noon tomorrow.
Okay.
And then I will, if you don't mind, I think what I'll do, unless you don't really want to see it, but I'll text you just some topics that I think would be good. And Perfect. Then you can let me know, these are good, these no, don't do that.
Will you email that to me so that I can get that in front of my team as well? So I'm gonna send them this recording so they have a chance to listen to what we've talked about.
Perfect.
But if you wouldn't mind emailing that to me so I can make sure they're on board, because they're the team that's going to be putting it all together in terms of execution.
Super. That sounds great. Now from here, are you talking with Adam about the social media strategy then of what's happening?
Yeah, we probably need to get on board with at least Tori Ann and Lisa since they're running it.
Yep. I'm just wondering.
I don't know if I mean, we can talk to Adam. We don't really have a tendency to get anywhere when we talk to him.
Huh. What's the best way to move forward so that everybody is on the same page? I know you're the social media piece, and I know Adam's supposed to be over everybody, and Lisa is more the ClickFunnels piece. Mm-hmm. So do I need to have that conversation with Adam? I'm assuming because it's social media, you probably want to talk with Adam about that.
No, so let me be clear on that. The way that it's working right now is we're the ads team, right? We're just the ads team that's running the ads. We weren't contracted to do any organic content.
And not strategy or anything. You're just ads.
Yeah, we've played the strategy role. We've played to bring people together and talk because nobody was. But we probably need to get in touch with Lisa because Lisa's team has been doing it. And then I know that not Tori Ann, but who's the other gal?
Lamira.
Yeah, Lamira, I think, was kind of over it as well. There's no clear direction as far as who's actually doing the organic content. And we've tried to clear that up 3 or 4 times, and we still aren't getting any exact direction.
We had similar questions of what is it we're supposed to be doing, and all we heard was we had 3 emails to put out the week of the masterclass. That was it, which surprised me because I said, I think we want to seedbed that more, don't we?
Yes.
So what I will do is from here, I will contact Adam. I'll give him a snapshot of what we talked about and say we are all on board on what we're doing here. And then maybe what I need to do is have communication with Lisa and just, do you want me to send her to you to know what's going on? Or how do you want to work the Lisa piece?
Well, I mean, quite frankly, we can leverage the organic content all we want, but really the only thing that I'm worried about is getting Facebook Live video assets for us, so that we can leverage those in an ad product. We probably won't do a lot of boosting static image posts.
Okay.
But strategically, if I would just convey to Adam the process of what you're going to be covering in your Facebook Live events, and ask them if that's Lisa's team, if it's Adam, if it's Torianne, if it's Lamira's. I would just ask them to create content as a follow-up to the video assets you're creating from a Facebook Live perspective.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I would, and what I probably would do over the course, if I were you, I would go through and I'd say, okay, here's what I'm presenting. Here are the days. Here's the content I'm presenting. And then give it to your organic team and say, okay, organic team, this is what I'm doing from a Facebook Live perspective to leverage it from an ad product perspective. Create content around these video assets.
Yep. Okay.
That's how we normally put together a content calendar if we're leveraging Facebook Live video.
Okay. All right, I'll do that. And I'm talking with someone about Instagram too, about what we can do with that a little bit more professionally and a little bit more wisely. So, okay, that sounds great. So it sounds to me like I will talk to Adam, and then it's really, to me, it seems like it's his role to connect with Lisa and make sure those things are, but just in the happenstance that that doesn't happen, if you, when you connect with Lisa, could you just like pass along what's going on?
Yep.
And we will move forward on this schedule, this ad schedule. I will give you that content, and then I'll talk with Adam as far as how that looks and financially how that looks.
Okay.
So just, you have access to my Facebook account to do the ad spend. Do you have that information?
I believe we do. I'm going to double check with my team. I believe that we do though.
Okay. If you don't, Torianne will have it, and I'll let her know that that's a thumbs up.
Okay.
Perfect.
Ryan,
thank you for making the time. This has been super helpful.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Text me anytime with any question. We love to be in the loop, and we love to be as helpful as possible and magnify whatever it is that you're doing. So if you see something that we're not doing or we're doing wrong, feel free to let us know so we can be helpful.
Okay, that sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Connie, nice to see you.
Okay. Nice to see you. Bye-bye.